Somewhere in Egypt, inside a sealed tomb buried for 3,000 years, archaeologists found food, ancient food, and when they opened the jar, it was still perfectly edible. It was honey, 3,000-year-old honey, still golden, still sweet, still perfect. No other food on earth has ever done this, not one. This isn't just a breakfast topping. Honey has been used as medicine, currency, weapon, and offering to gods. Wars were fought over it, empires were built around it, and today, the honey in your kitchen cupboard, there is a 70% chance it is completely fake, manufactured in a factory with 0 bees involved. This is the real history of honey, the divine, the deadly, and the deeply disturbing. And by the time this ends, you will never look at that honey jar the same way again. To understand honey, we must first understand the bee, an insect so ancient it was alive when dinosaurs walked this earth. Fossils show bees have existed for over 100 million years, long before humans, long before civilization itself. A single honeybee visits up to 1,500 flowers just to produce 1 drop of honey. Her entire life spent flying thousands of miles for something she will never taste herself. She dies before the honey is ready. Inside the hive, tens of thousands of bees work in perfect military precision, each one knowing exactly her role. Scientists still cannot fully explain how they coordinate so perfectly without a single word spoken. The honey itself is liquid gold, created through alchemy. A bee collects nectar, stores it in a special stomach, flies back and passes it mouth to mouth between bees until pure honey remains. And because honey contains almost 0 water, bacteria literally cannot survive inside it. It is the only natural food on Earth with an infinite shelf life, the only one ever.
Ancient Egyptians were the first to truly worship honey. They believed it was the tears of the sun god Ra, fallen from the sky and collected by bees. To them, honey wasn't just food, it was the gift of God. Pharaohs demanded honey as tax payment. Entire villages paid their dues, not in gold, not in silver, but in jars of honey. It was more valuable than metal, more precious than jewels. When pharaohs died, they were buried with honey. They believed it would nourish them in the afterlife. Entire chambers filled with golden jars, sealed forever, waiting for eternity. Across the ancient world, from Greece to India to China, honey was considered sacred, the food of gods, the drink of immortality, the one substance connecting mortals to the divine. Greek gods were said to drink nectar, which historians believe was simply fermented honey, and the word honeymoon comes from the ancient tradition of newlyweds drinking mead for 1 full moon cycle.
Honey was also the most powerful medicine of the ancient world. Egyptian medical texts dating 4,000 years back list honey as treatment for over 900 conditions. Infections, eye diseases, all treated with honey. Modern science has now proven they were right. Honey kills bacteria that even modern medicine struggles to defeat. Wounds treated with honey heal faster. The ancients knew something we forgot. Alexander the Great was reportedly preserved in honey after his death. His body stayed perfectly intact for weeks while his generals argued over his empire. Honey had defeated even death itself. Roman soldiers carried honey into battle, not to eat, but to pour onto their wounds immediately after fighting. On brutal ancient battlefields, honey was more valuable than any weapon. But perhaps the most astonishing use of honey was as a weapon itself. In 69 BC, a Roman general named Pompey led his army through the mountains of Turkey. Local tribes left something on the path ahead, something that would destroy an entire army without a single sword. They left honey bow, but made from rhododendron flowers, containing a powerful natural toxin. The Romans ate it hungrily. Within minutes, an entire army collapsed, hallucinating, vomiting, defeated by honey. This toxic honey still exists today. In Turkish mountains, locals still harvest what they call mad honey. It causes hallucinations and dangerous drops in blood pressure. It sells for over $150 per pound. In 946 AD, a Viking princess named Olga of Kiev was attacked by a rival tribe who killed her husband. Her revenge was served in honey. She invited the rival tribe to a peace feast, served them mead in enormous quantities. When they were completely drunk, she locked the doors and burned the hall to the ground, with everyone inside. Honey had now been a gift to gods, a medicine, a currency, a weapon, and an instrument of revenge. But nothing could prepare the world for what honey would become in the Age of Empire. By the Middle Ages, honey had become the most traded commodity in Europe, more valuable than spices, more sought after than silk. The people who controlled the bees controlled the wealth. The Catholic Church became the largest consumer of honey in medieval Europe, not for food, but for beeswax candles, the only candles allowed in churches. Monasteries across Europe became massive honey production centers. Then sugar arrived from the East. Within decades, it had replaced honey as Europe's primary sweetener. The honey industry collapsed almost overnight. Beekeepers went bankrupt, an entire ancient economy destroyed by one white powder. But honey refused to die, because sugar could never heal wounds, never kill bacteria, never preserve a body for 3,000 years. Honey retreated, but it was simply waiting for the world to remember. And then came the 20th century, the age of corporations, the age where everything pure, everything natural, everything ancient became a target for profit, and honey was no exception. In the 1970s, corporations discovered they could make a substance that looked exactly like honey, tasted almost like honey, but cost almost nothing to produce. They called it high fructose corn syrup, and they started mixing it into honey, secretly. The fake honey industry exploded. China became the largest producer of adulterated honey, flooding global markets with cheap imitation product. Real beekeepers across America and Europe were being driven out of business. When American authorities tried to stop the imports, Chinese manufacturers rerouted fake honey through other countries, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, changing labels, faking origins. They called it honey laundering. In 2011, Food Safety News tested honey from stores across America. The results were shocking. 76% of supermarket honey contained zero pollen. By international standards, it legally wasn't even honey. The honey in McDonald's, in KFC, in most major supermarkets, tested and found to contain no pollen whatsoever, just a golden-colored sugar syrup in a honey-shaped bottle.
But the fake honey scandal was just the beginning, because something far more terrifying was happening to the bees themselves. Something that threatened not just honey, but all of human civilization. In 2006, beekeepers across America discovered something horrifying. Their hives were empty. Not robbed, not destroyed, just empty. Millions of bees vanishing overnight. No bodies, no trace. Scientists called it colony collapse disorder. Within 2 years, 1/3 of all honeybee colonies in America had vanished. 1/3 gone. Pesticides, parasites, climate change. Every theory pointed to one thing. Humans were killing the very creature that fed them. Because bees don't just make honey. They pollinate 70% of the world's food crops. No bees, no fruits, no vegetables, no coffee, no chocolate. Scientists calculated that without bees, humanity would face widespread famine within 4 years. Albert Einstein allegedly once said, if bees disappeared from Earth, mankind would have just 4 years left. Whether he said it or not, the science behind it is terrifyingly real. The bee is not just a honeymaker. The bee is the foundation of life itself.
Governments finally began to act. In 2013, the European Union banned pesticides directly linked to bee deaths. For the first time, a major economic bloc had chosen bees over billion-dollar chemical corporations. Meanwhile, a quiet revolution was beginning in cities. Rooftops across Paris, London, and New York were being transformed into urban beehives. City honey, free from pesticides, became the most sought-after honey in the world. In Paris alone, over 700 beehives now sit on rooftops, on the Paris Opera House, on Notre Dame Cathedral, on luxury hotel terraces. The City of Love had become one of the most important bee sanctuaries on Earth. Scientists are now rediscovering what Egyptians knew 4,000 years ago. Manuka honey from New Zealand kills antibiotic-resistant bacteria that modern medicine cannot touch. Hospitals are using honey on wounds again. The same honey Egyptian physicians prescribed 4,000 years ago is now being used in the world's most advanced hospitals. Ancient wisdom validated by modern science. Some things were never meant to be improved upon.
Recent studies from Oxford and Harvard have found that raw honey contains compounds that directly reduce anxiety, improve sleep, and boost brain function. The ancients called it divine. Science is beginning to agree. Athletes are replacing synthetic energy gels with raw honey. NASA is studying it for long space missions. The military is researching honey-based battlefield wound treatments. The oldest food on Earth is suddenly the most cutting edge. The global raw honey market is now worth over $9 billion. By 2030, it is projected to exceed $14 billion. After centuries of being replaced and forgotten, real honey is making the most remarkable comeback in food history. But with that comeback comes a warning. The fake honey industry has also grown. More sophisticated, more deceptive, more dangerous than ever. So how do you know if your honey is actually real? There is a simple test. Drop honey into a glass of water. Real honey sinks and stays. Fake honey dissolves immediately. One simple test that tells you in seconds whether you are holding ancient medicine or just sugar water.
There is another test. Light a match and dip it in your honey. Real honey will not burn. Fake honey, packed with corn syrup, ignites immediately. The same substance that preserved pharaohs cannot be touched by fire. And the third test. Real honey crystallizes over time. If your honey has been sitting for months and is still perfectly liquid, it is almost certainly fake. Real honey granulates. Real honey changes, because real honey is alive. So what should you buy? Raw, unfiltered honey, local honey from a beekeeper you can visit, honey with visible pollen and beeswax particles, cloudy honey, imperfect honey, because the most perfect-looking honey is almost always the most fake. Because somewhere right now, a single honeybee is flying between flowers. She will fly the equivalent of 3 times around the earth in her lifetime just to fill one single jar. She will die before it is ready. That jar represents millions of bee flights, billions of flower visits, the life's work of thousands of creatures who asked for nothing in return. Every single drop is a miracle, and it always has been.
So, we come back to that tomb in Egypt, that sealed jar buried for 3,000 years, found perfectly preserved, long after the pharaoh had turned to dust, long after his empire had crumbled, long after his gods had been forgotten. The pharaoh is gone, his palace is gone, his army is gone, his name barely remembered. But the honey, that tiny jar of golden liquid, survived everything. 3,000 years of darkness, and it was still perfect. Empires rise, empires fall, religions come and go, civilizations are built and buried. But honey, that ancient golden gift from a tiny winged creature, has outlasted every single one of them, and it will outlast us too. Next time you open a jar of honey, remember what you are holding. Not just a sweetener, but 10,000 years of human civilization, and the life's work of a creature so small, yet so vital, she holds the fate of all life on Earth. This was the history of honey. If this changed how you see the world, you know what to do. Subscribe to Crust and Chronicle, because the smallest things always hide the greatest stories.